Hello everyone. The COVID-19 crisis impacted all of us for this past few months. It took us some time to understand that this situation will last for a while and change our way of living. During my session, I would like to take you into the journey of the new normal and its impact on the digital transformation, more precisely on the cybersecurity. COVID-19 changed a lot of our professional and private habits. It might appear to be only on social way of living or on the economy, but it is also on our privacy and the business security. New vulnerabilities arise which were not a real concern before. We will go now together gradually into some of these changes. Then we will list some of the related new vulnerabilities generated by these changes. And finally, I will show a few of the solutions that Ingram Micro can help you to bring to your clients to recover and mitigate these vulnerabilities. What really changed? Let's list the main activities which brought us major changes on a daily basis. I selected 3 of them. First is employees are working now primarily from home. Second, companies are closing offices or leaving them empty. Third, people are more cyber connected, either for buying online, socializing, doing individual connected sport, or entertainment or others. Let's take them one by one and see what that means exactly for the IT and the cybersecurity. The most common new challenge to all businesses is the first one I mentioned, working from home or the remote workforce. The major consequence was that companies have to create additional credentials for employees who used to be working from the office previously. Those credentials are becoming a real threat, a potential backdoor for cybercriminals. They are hunting for them now more than ever. Then, the data generated by employees while working from home are more exposed. They are left on the laptop or other devices until they got backed up and securely stored by the company on the proper infrastructure. During that period of exposure, any attacker may act. And finally, for the remote workplace, the last point would be that many IT departments had to create additional secured connections to the central infrastructure, be it on-premise or in the cloud. To accommodate the increasing number of employees working from home. We will see later how this is increasing vulnerabilities. That was the first point and probably the most important one, the remote workplace. The second consequence of the current crisis that we can highlight here is companies who are closing offices. The traditional workplace can be either left empty or closed. Offices can be then exposed to thieves or to physical damage. Consequently, the IT on-premise infrastructure, such as data centers, servers, the hosted application, would be exposed to unsecured direct access. And more generally, the building monitoring systems, called BMS, are possibly left with less attention. this is a real treat for hackers. The third and the last aspect of changes brought to us by the COVID-19 crisis that I wanted to address here is the fact that people are more cyber connected. That means, first, we are all using much more than before a list of credentials online and using them on all kinds of platforms. Second, and even more important, our connection is more often using credit cards and email information. These personal data are now heavily circulating and more stored online on those websites and platforms we are visiting. My third point related to people connection is precisely the connection time itself. It increased exponentially. That is giving much more time than before to cybercriminals to access your data online. And finally, another consequence of more connections is, of course, downloading new unsafe and unverified apps on your smart devices. With this, I listed to you 3 major challenges of the new normal: remote workplace, closing offices, and more cyber connections. I would like now to go more precisely to the cybersecurity aspect of these changes and list for you the major new and increased related vulnerabilities. The first one would be the human being himself. As we know, the single point of failure in cybersecurity is the user. As I said before, cybercriminals are attracted by credentials that are today much more exposed than before. And therefore, there is an important increase of social engineering. For instance, while working in the office, many employees would be more careful than at home on phishing emails. At home, they feel motivated to reply to all solicitations, thinking that all are business legitimated. Phishing emails are flourishing these days. More generally, the lack of awareness at home or while coming once a week to the office is becoming a much higher vulnerability than before. Let me speak more privacy and trade secrets now. Employees are easily connecting the remote office from anywhere, printing documents, sharing data on unsecured USB, or working with company information under the sight of family and friends. These are few of the risks for many data leak for any company or organization. Many important vulnerabilities are in the connection itself. These connections with all kinds of devices to reach IT infrastructure and application of the company are generating extra traffic and using more exposed data. Let me develop this point more precisely and look simply on the consequences of extra traffic in the network connection itself. The first connection for many users is not anymore in the office. It is most probably not secured, not under company infrastructure while with their strict policy controls. It is therefore exposed. Moreover, the traffic generated in the exposed network is increased. After a domestic or a public connection to Wi-Fi, then finally, this exposed connection is knocking on the door wait a second. Is there a firewall? Does the existing firewall able to support the new load? Is there a VPN? Does it have enough capacity? Is there an identity management system? What about secured authentication? Such kind of questions are needed to be answered by the IT department and hammered in large organizations by CISOs. Let me summarize it now. The list of vulnerabilities are in 3 categories. One is the awareness and social engineering. The increase and lack of awareness is leading to more social engineering threat. Second category, privacy and data security. Sensitive data leaks and privacy management is a key challenge now. Third, network and connections, where falls the need of firewalls, VPNs, access and authentication, and their capacity update or implementation. There is one obvious vulnerability I didn't mention here, which is the endpoint security software update, the traditional antivirus. It is probably the first to mention, but also the easiest to handle, of course. This is why I'll pass on it. We spoke about vulnerabilities, but let me be a bit more specific in a more effective way. What are the solutions that need to be offered to your clients specifically for COVID-19 crisis? We can see here, one by one, the list of how to overcome these challenges with Ingram Micro. Organizations need to start first to know and understand what is the exposure of their infrastructure and applications. Ingram Micro has developed in-house software that can help you to identify with your clients the exposure. This is Cybercrime and Spyglass. It brings a better view for a discussion and later positioning of a service or a solution you may offer to your client based on facts. Do not hesitate to contact us to learn more. To continue understanding their exposures, your clients might need assessment services such as VAPT, web application scanning, etc. And maybe a configuration review for the implemented software and hardware. Equally, the risk of data theft or leak creates an obligation to review the compliance with the standard and the frameworks enforced in the country. That is done with gap analysis and other consultancy services that Ingram Micro can offer to your clients. Awareness collaterals and online visuals are available to help you and help your clients educating their users. To recover the authentication challenge that is now needed more than ever, the solutions that are proposed by Ingram Micro are many in the domain of identity management, single sign-on, PAM, multi-factor authentication, etc. Then it is probably the right time to update or improve your client's firewalls with Ingram Micro choice of next generation firewall solutions. New or additional VPN licenses as well. Then, the data loss prevention, DLP, is a priority for all organizations now. That includes a preliminary work on data classification itself with a highly skilled team of consultants from Ingram Micro. And finally, many security endpoint old software can't be updated if not on VPN or even in the office. Are your clients using the last generation of endpoint security with EDR, endpoint detection and response? With this, I think I covered many of the digital transformation challenges in the current new normal created by COVID-19 pandemic. More specifically, I try to focus here on the generated vulnerabilities and their consequences for a cybersecurity value proposition that you can offer to your clients. You can count on Ingram Micro for this. Just contact us. Unlock your cybersecurity potential with Ingram Micro.